And now for Chapter 5 material. Let's start with the categories of lipids. Now there are three categories. We have triglycerides, phospholipids, and sterols. And it's important to understand that cholesterol, which is a sterol, is not a fat. When we think of fats, we think of triglycerides, because this is 95% of all the lipids in the body. And so whenever you think of fatty acid, this is the triglycerides. But cholesterol is a sterol and is therefore a lipid. And fat is not cholesterol. So don't confuse those because you'll need to know the categories of lipids. Phospholipids are emulsifiers. They help, which lecithin is an additive that is added to foods that helps with emulsifying in the body. We have phospholipids that make up membranes. They allow for transport of fatty substances within the bloodstream, which is more fluid. You will have to identify the different types of fatty acids. And let me go back one. We have, this is a triglyceride. So we have three fatty acids attached to a glycerol backbone. You'll need to know that. And each of these fatty acids generally in a triglyceride are saturated. So this is a saturated fat. A monounsaturated fat means there's one double bond or 1 point of unsaturation, mono meaning one. And you can see it changes the shape of the fatty acid. Polyunsaturated means there's 2 points of unsaturation, so there are at least 2 points, usually more, or at least 2 double bonds. And again, these points of unsaturation change the structure and therefore function of the fatty acids. You'll need to identify these fatty acids based on the image shown on the exam. Saturated are, in general, considered our kind of bad fats, but I want to point out that's mostly the processed saturated fats. Also, some of the animal fats, and generally we consider animal fats as saturated fats that are not good for us. That would be the from the American Heart Association or the dietary guidelines. There's more research leading to the fact that these might be more beneficial to us than we think. So I generally like to say processed saturated fats. So any saturated fats that you find in processed foods are not good. Monounsaturated fats are fatty acids that occur in, say, olive oil or avocado. They are considered either beneficial or somewhat neutral. And then polyunsaturated fatty acids, there are two types. There's omega-3 and omega-6. Omega-3 fatty acids are generally considered healthy and beneficial, occurring in flaxseed and walnuts. The omega-6 are a lot of the oils, refined oils that occur in abundance in processed foods and are generally not considered good for us, especially in the amount that we take them in. Any vegetable oil, which is an unsaturated fat, so any unsaturated fatty acid that has gone through a process and is added to foods is not healthy. But if you were to be asked on the exam, which is more beneficial, generally we think of polyunsaturated fats as good and saturated fats as bad. You are going to need to figure out the percent of calories from fat in a food. So you may want to have a calculator handy, a scratch paper, and a pencil handy when you take the exam. And let's take this example of a hamburger. That's 500 calories. 25 grams of this is from saturated fat. So when you look at this, and I asked you, well, how much of this hamburger is saturated fat? You would say, well, I don't know. 25 grams doesn't seem like a lot for a 500 calorie burger, but let's go through the calculation. We start with using the 9 calories per gram, which is how many calories per gram of saturated fat. And so we have 25 grams of saturated fat. For every gram, there are 9 calories. So that means we know that there are 225 saturated fat calories in this hamburger. Now, if we divide that, by 500, we actually end up with 0.45 or 45%. So that means that 45%, which is almost 50% of this hamburger, is saturated fat. And you wouldn't really know that until you went through this calculation. So be sure you know you understand this calculation in this process. Now, what is LDL and HDL? And you'll need to know the difference. When we think of LDL, this is our low-density lipoprotein. So you don't see cholesterol in here, right, as a definition. And high-density lipoprotein, these are the blood lipids that are generally measured when you get your cholesterol taken. And they're referred to as the bad cholesterol and good cholesterol, but they're not actually cholesterol. You definitely need to know that. They're lipoproteins that carry cholesterol in the bloodstream. So let's take a look at the LDL, considered our bad cholesterol. And I will refer to it as the bad cholesterol because that is a very mainstream way of talking about LDL. But remember, it's not actually cholesterol. It is a way of the liver packaging. You can see, look at this, cholesterol and triglycerides, which is fat, and delivering it to the tissues that need it. So it gets sent out from the liver into the bloodstream. And you can see here we have proteins within this shell. This is a lipoprotein. These are a phospholipid membrane. It allows this structure to carry fats in a watery environment. HDL is high-density lipoprotein. It's a scavenger. It basically goes through the bloodstream and then picks up any cholesterol or fat and brings it back to the liver to be processed. And we think of it as the good cholesterol. So for the exam, I want you to know these two things. How do you lower LDL? And how do you increase HDL? And in general, we think of lowering the intake of saturated fat and trans fat. And I'm going to put a big asterisk here, and we're going to talk about this next. But this is kind of the standard mainstream recommendations. Whereas there aren't that many things that raise HDL in the diet. For some people, polyunsaturated fatty acids will do this, but exercise will increase HDL in some people. Now, there's a big asterisk with saturated fat because although it will lower LDL, it may not be lowering the right type of LDL. And this is information that's not in your book, but I do want you to know for the exam. I want you to know that there are different types of LDL, and this is a somewhat new concept and new discovery, and it's just being integrated into general medical practice now. There is a small, dense LDL, and this is more atherogenic. That means it contributes more to heart disease. Then there's a large, buoyant LDL, which is less atherogenic, so it contributes less to heart disease, or is associated with heart disease less. Now, what happens to increase the small, dense LDL? Refined carbohydrates, whereas saturated fat increases the large, buoyant LDL. This means that refined carbohydrates have a greater chance of increasing your risk of heart disease compared to saturated fat. So that's why I'm always putting this little asterisk next to saturated fat. And this saturated fat that's going to increase large buoyant LDL is generally going to be from whole foods. Once we get a processed saturated fat, we're not going to see any benefit at all. Now, trans fats. We know that these are unhealthy. These are trans fats that are created during processing in order to stabilize an unsaturated fat to give it a greater shelf life. That's how we give foods a greater shelf life, how manufacturers do, by hydrogenating unsaturated fats. There are some trans fats that occur naturally or occur in nature, and these have shown to actually have some health benefits, but the ones that are produced in the lab are unhealthy. You can have 0.5 grams, a half a gram of trans fat, and this will can be labeled as 0 on any label. So you always have to look for a hydrogenated oil when you're looking at a label. Essential fatty acids. So what's essential? Essential means something that we are required to get from our diet. It cannot be made in the body or cannot be made in amounts that we need. So essential fatty acids, if I were to ask you on the exam, which of these is an essential fatty acid? Saturated, monounsaturated, or polyunsaturated fatty acids. So we have both the omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. Omega-3 fatty acids come from, this is our linoleic and linolenic acid, come from, our omega-3s are going to come from flaxseed and walnuts. When we look to EPA and DHA, which are actually not true essential fatty acids, but what the omega-3s that people will obtain from eating fish products, which are considered healthy and you should have twice a week. These are confer a lot of health benefits associated with decreasing inflammation, decreasing risk of chronic disease, and particularly heart disease. And that's the end of Chapter 5 review material.